This is a short story entitled If Only Edgar Had Been Paying Attention. If only Edgar had been paying attention, he'd have noticed Julie. If only Edgar had been paying attention, perhaps he would have said goodbye to Rage. If Edgar had paid attention to the small white cat, he would have noticed the feet, the same color as pomegranates. If only Edgar had been paying attention. He awoke as he came down from VR, clinging to Rage as he so often did when VR surged through his system at night. Vampire runoff hangover symptoms include cottonmouth, disorientation, and limb displacement, or at least that's what it feels like. To have it be told, dear listeners, vampire runoff the morning after gives you the same feeling that televisions with snow channels used to get. That sound, that feeling. Everything is jumpy and blurred and choppy in a horizontal fashion. Much like any drug, the highs are high and the lows are quite low themselves. But Edgar knew this and knows the risks. To him, the important thing is to be to work on time with minimally wrinkled clothing. He'll stop by the local YMCA for a shower and a swim to put his head back together so Ben doesn't suspect. Then another, much longer shower. In the steam, his gaze will flit to other bodies taking other showers in the open atmosphere of the male locker room spigot. Sometimes he is rejuvenated by those activities. But as for all crucial things Edgar missed, let us discuss them briefly for a moment after this message from the Cosmic. Cosmic has enclosed a reminder today. Reminder, dear listeners, powdered wigs are no longer a fashionable choice. It may distract your charges to appear wearing one. We all remember what happens when they get distracted. Best case scenario is Tony Kushner. Worst case scenario is you are mistaken for trouble. We can all be better together if we just remember time is linear for them and fashions are capricious. Please look at your charge file before interacting with your charges. Some of them may call you a muse, or more commonly now, Plant Daddy. Now, Plant Daddy sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Now, as to the things in the list that Edgar missed, here is why they are important. Julie is an archer, and she does not come by this honestly. She trained since the age of 11 in archery, and before that, as a Girl Scout. It's not something she loves, but it is a part of who she is. She and Edgar share some commonalities, including loathing for Surf City. Julie does happen to be an excellent archer. She has fashioned herself into a weapon. Where Ben and Truist either playfully or with devotion love the supernatural and the whimsy of life itself, Julie feels a beating heart darkness to it. She is anti trouble and yet, dear listeners, is quite formidable in, as she describes it, holding them against the wall. Our listeners perusing their case files right now will remember the passing of Julie's cosmic guardian and the war that ensued. It was not as we thought, where she would become lost as the others have done, but unfortunately, she was neither gained, and her purpose remains redacted. Julie is not tall. She projects height, but is not so. Some say her hair is short, and others say long. All underestimate her. Julie missed Edgar's head with a notch of an arrow by 5 seconds, but Rage was not so fortunate. In another life, Julie and Edgar were married, and their strength brought forth the next generation of Surf City founders. This universe case docket is M594302, alternate universe case B. It is in the Cerulean filing cabinet. If you ask Atsume where it is, they will show you. The Cosmic would advise you to only look at other case files when necessary. They also advise that though powdered wigs are still not in fashion, humans no longer dictate themselves by fashion. Be aware Buckles and stockings may not give you the presentation or invisibility they once did in the past. It is not ill advised, but it may disallow your charges from making better life decisions under your influence. The Cosmic reminds you to be aware while on Earth. Read your charge folder, your charge guide, and their tastes and act accordingly. That's what the manila folders are and Atsume are for. Edgar does not know yet how much he will miss Rage. There is a chance they will see each other again. This is a moment where timelines can converge, and I know the Edgar Rage storyline is why many of you continue to listen through that period of time where Edgar was lost to trouble. We are all fans of Edgar, and some even fans of Rage. The cat, with the white fur and blue eyes and pomegranate red colored paws running down the alley, was not a cat, as most humans would think. But what he, or she, is, or was, did drop the porcelain mask. In dropping, it split into two equal pieces, right down the nose. Edgar chose to pocket the gold half over the silver half and left the silver half behind. Julie did not notice the half mask at all, but that was intentional. A bulletin from the citizenry of Trouble. Trouble writes, "Don't worry, bleach is good in clothing. Next time you have to wash clothing, use bleach. The scent is pleasant and the clothing will be sparkling white and clean. The people of Earth like those kinds of things. We figured you could use the tip, seeing as how you're so out of touch." Their words, not mine, dear listeners. My apologies for their rudeness. But of course, this all leaves the question of the mysterious mace, whose very presence at the kitchen door caused Ben to gasp. Ben is still almost startled to see him there the following morning at the kitchen table. It is quiet and early, and though Edgar is not present that early in the morning, Ben does not expect him as such. Ben does not often see him before 9:30, nor does he need to. Ben asks Mace how he slept, and Mace demurs. Fine. It is small, tired, ambiguous as an answer. Ben digs deeper, asking about nightmares and sleepwalking, as Mace had been known to do over the years. There was one special moment they share when he was very young, when he was found at 6 a.m. on the docks in a hand-me-down Spider-Man pajama set. Mace is quite known for his skills at walking. Mace is slightly cheered enough to say to his older brother Ben that he had no nightmares. None yet. The cheer is real. What Ben doesn't know, and what Mace does know, is that the nightmares are the least of either of their worries at the Black family estate. Ben warns Mace that there is no freeloading, and that if he chooses to stay, he must work at the donut shop. Mace offers, as a peace offering, a root beer float donut. There is silence, as one has oatmeal and the other picks at their cornflakes. To say it is amicable would be a stretch, dear listeners. And Ben finally asks, "Why are you here?" This question has plagued his mind. Mace confesses that there was nowhere left to go. It was a tired sentiment. He wants to say that he walked and hiked and drove and cried to other coasts, to landlocked cities. He wants to tell Ben that everywhere is the same, is as frightening, that things that are wrong with him are inescapable and are as palpable as indescribable. But instead, the sentiment and the words peter off. Mace does not have the strength for them. "I missed home," Mace settles on, and he is a little ashamed of the partial lie. But as the black sheep of the black family, it is his duty to lie, a little, to protect the others. When Ben's phone buzzes, Ben loses sight of Mace for a moment and visibly relaxes. Mace notices this as it's his moral duty, also as a younger brother, to notice something. "Boyfriend?" Mace asks. "Mm-hmm," Ben demurs, offering little else. He implores Mace to finish up if he wants a ride into the office instead of walking, to rinse out his dish, to wash his hands, to be an upstanding member of society. Ben is predictable in those ways, but it is all by design. No, there are things that Ben doesn't know, and the things that Ben does not know could fill another chapter alongside the things that Mace and Edgar do not know or do not understand, which, if I am to understand, is worse. But what they don't know is that long ago, the ills they have were the ills they have today were set into motion by their ancestor Heatherton Black. Perhaps they will be the generation to find peace. Perhaps they will be the generation to sadly find trouble. As it stands currently, they are the last generation, and there are only two other remaining founders of Surf City to keep the peace, if those two are lost. They could easily still be lost, dear listeners, here at the beginning of this chapter of their lives. But for now, there is breakfast and morning and chores in preparation of the day. There is no time to be lost. Tune in next time to find out what Julie's goal was in procuring Rage from his drug-den slumber. Find out where Mace has gone and what he's seen, along with what troubles the youngest Black encountered. And find out who that white cat with red paws was, for they are not human, and that should be the most worrying part of all. Until next time, dear listeners, enjoy your sweet fried dough at Surf City Donut. Surf City is an audio work of John McDonald and John McDonald Productions. It's meant for entertainment purposes only and is not meant to advise anyone on lifestyle, health, or spiritual philosophical issues of there or any time. All opinions expressed are held by the characters and in some cases the creator of Surf City and Surf City Donuts, John McDonald.